So, it's been like 9 years since the release of Batman Arkham Knight. 9 whole years. In that time span, DC game hasn't been doing really that well. Yeah, sure. We've had Injustice 2 and Injustice 2, the Batman the Telltale series, and Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad, here the Justice League, but DC game hasn't been doing all that well, even with those games. Yeah, it feels like DC is on the back foot, just like in the movie industry. Like they're always like one step behind Marvel, while Marvel is thriving both in, well, maybe not in the movie industry, not right now with the MCU, but they're doing really well in the gaming industry now. Like Marvel gaming is booming right now. They're like releasing a Iron Man game, a AAA Iron Man game, a AAA Captain America and Black Panther game, and a AAA Wolverine game. And just Marvel games been doing overall better than DC gaming, and it kind of makes me sad because DC has a rich history of characters which they could easily make games out of. Superman, The Flash, Green Lantern, even the Teen Titans, characters that DC is just wasting on, are just wasting. So in this video, I thought about how I pitch an idea for a whole new Batman game because ever since Arkham Knight, we haven't really gotten a triple A Batman game, a third-person Batman game where you get the free roam, right? So yeah, we got the Batman Telltale series, but that's nothing compared to the Arkham series. So in this video, I'm pitching an idea for a whole new Batman game, one set in its own one set in its own universe, and with its own mythos. So just hear me out. Alright, so my idea for a synopsis is this here. The story of the game follows a much more older version of Batman, similar to his Dark Knight's Returns counterpart, but he's not that old. He's not in his late 50s to early 60s. This version of Batman is in his mid to late 40s, like he's either 45 or 47 by the time of the story. So this story follows uh, an older Batman that comes out of exile after 7 years. So 7 years ago, a really two traumatic events occurred that broke the Bat family apart. These events were the Clean Joke storyline and the Dead in the Family storyline, where Batman, in the Dead of the Family, in the Dead of the Family storyline, Batman lost the Jason Todd, who was murdered by a Joker, and in the Clean Joke, the Joker crippled Barbara Gordon. So 7 years ago, after those two events, Batman and Joker had one final battle, which ended up with the Joker disappearing and also Batman going to exile. This has led many to speculate, including members of the Bat family, as to what actually happened and what happened to the Joker. Many asked the question if Batman really did kill the Joker, and spoiler alert, he didn't. He didn't kill the Joker. I tend to explain that event in a future sequel pitch, like down the line. Just give me some time. So yeah, that's how the story starts. So this older version of Batman comes to crime. Comes back to Gotham, where crime and corruption have skyrocketed again, and this time he must deal with new threats and enemies. And one of these big threats that Batman must face is this mysterious shadow organization that has been orchestrating the assassinations of various high-ranking officials in Gotham, from high-ranking officers to members in City Hall to politicians running for mayor of Gotham, and a individual that Batman seems to always cross paths with is a mysterious hitman that covers his face with bandages. Yep, that's right. I'm being hushed into the story. I felt like he wasn't done particularly well in the Arkham series, so let's give him some spotlight here in this game. And the shadow organization that Hush is working for is, spoiler alert, the Court of Owls. Yeah, after after seeing the playthrough of Gotham Knights, I think they were done well in that game. So yeah, that's the part influenced me to put them implement them into this story. So yeah, that's the premise of the story. Batman comes to Gotham. He must now face up with the Court of Owls and Hush and prevent them from their schemes and from their assassination attempts, and uncover the truth behind the ultimate goal, and has to find a way to destroy the organization. So yeah, that's my basis for synopsis of the game. Okay, so here I have a list of characters that are going to be featured in the story. So to start off with, obviously Batman, who is Bruce Wayne, James Gordon, Lucius Fox, Barbara Gordon, who's also Oracle, Renee Montoya, uh, and as well as uh, younger Tim Drake before he becomes Robin, Hush, who's also Thomas Elliot, and the villains in the story, Killer Croc, Mad Hatter, Firefly, Mr. Freeze, and as well as the new uh, police commissioner, whose name I still have to figure out, and many other characters, but these are the main characters that are going to be the focus in the story of this game. So also want to mention the why Alfred's not mentioned here, because in this story in this universe, Alfred died during the 7 years while Bruce was in exile. So yeah, to add to the tragedy, Alfred died during those 7 years. And also about other characters, after that event with the Joker 7 years ago, James Gordon retired from being like a police commissioner, and now he's become like a politician, and he's running for mayor, which means that he's one of the targets for the Court of Owls as well as Hush. So he retired from being a police commissioner, and he's now running for mayor of Gotham. And Barbara Gordon, she obviously becomes Oracle. She's gonna play like a similar role like she does in the Arkham series, where she like helps Batman over the like helps Batman from the Batcave and gives him sources of information and helps him in his cases. And this version of Tim Drake, so this Tim Drake in this story specifically, he doesn't, he's not Robin yet. So in this story, this is the first time he meets Bruce Wayne. He just like in the comics, he has a family, and then he doesn't go through like the same tragedies like Dick Grayson or Jason Todd do when they become orphans. No, he has a family, so he didn't. He like in the comics he deduces that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and try and he asked Batman to train him to become the next Robin. So that's like, so it's similar to his comic book counterpart, where he asks Batman to where he tries to persuade Batman to become the next Robin, and he does act like as an ally to him due to his intellect and his knowledge with technology. So he does help Batman in that aspect, and I don't know if like making him a playable character would be an option. Like maybe in some instances, but I just need to find ways to not make it boring, like in the Spider-Man games with MJ and Miles Morales. And Also, in fact, I think he will play somewhat of a role like Miles Morales in the Spider-Man PS4 game, where you see teens to his perspective, like like an ordinary citizen, like you've seen it, like how an ordinary citizen sees Batman, and like to their perspective. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do with Tim Drake. He becomes Robin in the latest sequels, but in this game he's just Tim Drake. That's it, and he's trying to get Batman's approval to become Robin, and the other characters, Lucius Fox, plays not he will play like a minor role, like giving Batman his different gadgets and all, like helping him in certain cases. That's it. Then we have the villains Hush, Killer Croc, Mad Hatter, Firefly, and Mr. Freeze. Still gonna find a way to implement them in the story, but few of them, but in some way, all of them are connected to each other, and they are connected to the Court of Owls. So each of them are doing work for the Court of Owls. So yeah, I get more to that in the bosses section of the video. But yeah, those are the characters that are going to be the main focus of the story in the game. Okay, so we're delving into the gameplay. So when I was thinking about gameplay and combat specifically, like let's take some inspiration from the Batman Arkham series and have free for combat. Yeah. So, free for let's have free for combat like the Batman Arkham series, but let's try to differentiate it a bit. Like from what I remember, in combat for the Arkham series, you had to like get a number of hits in to get a combo, while not getting hit for like while also not taking any damage. Get a number of hits in and not take any damage. So let's do something like this. So in Spider-Man PS4 and Spider-Man PS5, there's like a meter you have to build up in like a focus meter. So you get a number of hits in order to, if from what I remember, you get a number of hits in to build up that focus meter. Like you don't have to like do like a million hits, but like get a certain number of hits in to increase the focus meter. And once you get and once you get a full focus meter, you can do like takedowns. From what I remember, with the triangle and circle button, you press button together to do a number of takedowns, and the camera focuses in on those takedowns. So let's implement something like that, where like, and in this gameplay for this game, Batman has to get in a number of hits with free flow combat, and you build up like a something like a focus meter, and then once you do that, you can start doing takedowns. And my ideas for takedowns, not just like on takedowns where the camera just like focuses in on specific takedowns. Like, how about implementing some gadgets when doing these takedowns? Like he like uses his bat claw to pull the enemy, and like uh, and give them a left hook and a right hook, and then you know something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not getting the web. I'm just spitballing ideas. So he implements his gadgets when doing these takedowns, like with his bat claw, batarang, or like that el- electric electric gun that he had in Arkham Knight. How about implementing those in the takedowns? And also for the gameplay section, I was thinking to myself, like how in the original Batman Arkham series you had like only detective vision you could use when solving when solving when trying to find clues in an area, as well as when you were in the stealth section you could use it. And people complained about that there was no limit to it, and that you could have it on the entire time. So I was thinking to myself for like like somewhat of detective vision. Instead of having a detective vision, let's have three specific modes, in temporary environmental modes that you can activate during specific gameplay sections. So here's detective mode, the ordinary detective mode that's in blue, that's has a blue filter to it. So this mode, you have to use to solve crimes and helps you solve crimes, but you can't use it forever. It's limited, so you have to use it sparingly. And then you have a combat mode, and this mode there's a red filter over it where that you can activate it during combat in order to find a to find a specific weakness with certain enemies, like enemies that are holding up shields, but and armored enemies, like brutes and enemies that have specific weaponry. You have to find weaknesses, and in order to disarm them and to take them down, that's where you can use the combat mode. And then you have like a predator mode, which you can use which you use during stout segments of the game. So predator mode, I'm not sure what color scheme you would have for this. Maybe like an orange color scheme. I'm not sure what the color filter would be. But so anyway, in predator mode, just like similar to combat mode, you find specific enemies and you figure out how to take them down. You find specific enemies that have like that have like certain weaponry and that you can't take down from behind or in front of them or like from above. You have to figure out different ways of taking them down. So that's when the gadgets come in, like how to like disarm them or like you know and how to disarm them. So you use this mode in order to figure out how to disarm them and how to incapacitate them. So that's where like a predator mode comes in. Not sure what the filter color would be for it, maybe like a yellow or orange, but that's primarily what predator mode would be. So these are three modes, and this helps differentiate it from the Arkham series where you had like just one vision, just detective vision, but in this one you have three different visions that help you during certain segments of combat and certain gameplay sections, like, and the three gameplay sections are detect for analyzing the crime scene, combat encounters, and the stealth segments. Alright. Okay, so now we move on to the open world. So my idea for the open world, it's not gonna be like some like a gigantic open world like in Arkham Knight or in Arkham City. So how about this? Five locations that you only get to go to. Five locations in the game, and these are the areas I thought would be good. Old Gotham, which is not Gotham, the most crime-ridden part of the city. The Narrows, from like the Gotham TV show, which are the slums of the city, and it's the poor district. Then Gotham South, which is not that crime-ridden, has better infrastructure, but is slowly being taken over by the different gangs of the city. Then the underground tunnels the underground tunnels and the sewers where you find the hidden bases of the Court of Owls and where they're experimenting on people. Then then Arkham Island. Yeah, so Arkham Island, just like in the game Arkham Asylum. This is with the asylum used to be Arkham Asylum was, but the asylum is has been closed down for many years right now, and the GCPD only uses Blackgate Prison to house criminals. But so the asylum has been closed for a long time now. The building is some of the building, some of the buildings have been destroyed on this area, and this is the area where that last encounter with Joker took place, all those 7 years ago. And this part of this and Arkham Island is now run by this cult that's dedicated to that has dedicated themselves to the Joker, and another group of individuals, also another cult that has dedicated themselves to Amadeus Arkham, who owned who created Arkham Asylum in the 19th century, in the late 19th century. So basically, two cults are at war over the territory of Arkham Island. Then the last another few locations I thought about implementing. I read in the on DC fandom. So implementing Gotham Gotham Heights and Gotham South. No, Gotham Heights and Gotham Village, which are other districts. They're not big. The- They are also the slums of Gotham, and the last location would be the Batcave. Where you go from time to time in between missions. To gear up and have like conversations with other characters like Oracle and Tim Drake, and also where you can change your and also where you can view certain memorabilia from Batman's career, like the giant coin and the dinosaur would be good additions, and also you could view old outfits from Batman's past, as well as Jason Todd's damaged Robin outfit, as well as Dick Grayson's uh, former Robin outfit. And also, my idea for the open world, there will be some civilians, but like I can't picture Batman going up to civilians and high-fiving them and freaking interacting with them like like in the Spider-Man games. So there will be some civilians and some police officers Batman can interact with, like help saving them, and you get some extra dialogue with them after you save them, where they will like thank Batman for saving them, and it may change the perception of and it may help them change the perception of him. Like some of them thought he was an urban legend, while others thought he was like a criminal and a threat, but it would make them change the perception of him. So yeah, that's my idea for open world. And also yeah, there will be some civilians in areas, but like most of the areas will either have police officers or gangs, or like gang members or other enemies, but with a few civilians in between, to make the city feel a little bit lively. Like I just can't picture Batman be going into crowded areas with civilians. It kind of breaks the mistake. Only characters I can imagine doing that are like Spider-Man and Spider-Man and Superman. Like they could go into crowded areas with civilians because they're not trying to hide themselves. But for characters like Batman and Daredevil interacting with civilians, I can't really see that happening. Like them high fiving civilians, yeah, that would be ridiculous. So yeah, that's my idea for the open world. It won't be like some gigantic open world. Only like five areas to explore, and 5 areas to explore, and I think the main thing you have to do with them is you have to make them differentiate them and make them all have this different feel to them. They mustn't feel the same. They mustn't feel like dead areas. They must all have something unique to each of them. Like in the Saints Row 2 game, they was able to differentiate the neighborhoods and make them all feel different from each other. Like the area Saints Row, the crime-ridden neighborhoods, and the city. And if I remember, it's been some time since I played the game, but in short, that's what I would do when creating the open world for this Batman game. Okay, so now we move into the main bosses of the game. The main bosses of the game are Killer Croc, Mad Hatter, Firefly, Mr. Freeze, Bane, and Hush. So my ideas for these bosses: first, Killer Croc. I thought about having like two, like actually two, but we'll stick with one. One boss fight, and it would be in the underground tunnels, like in the sewers, since that's his main domain. Not like in Arkham Asylum where it was where you didn't actually get to fight him. You get to actually fight him here in this section, but I thought about like making it like a platforming section, like similar to like I'm trying to remember that last level in the Amazing Spider-Man one where you fought Lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man one game where you fought Lizard in the sewers, like something like platforming, just not to make it annoying, but add some platforming there and like a hand-to-hand combat, and yeah, you're all set. And but my other idea is that you could fight Killer Croc in a wrestling ring, like in a wrestling ring, like in a section like when you're exploring levels and in the story and you like meet up with Killer Croc. He's like a bigger like the crime boss of the Narrows, and you have to fight him like in a wrestling ring. I was thinking about that idea. That could also work, but either of those ideas could work. And I fit into the overall story. I said that I wasn't sure, but like he could fight him at first, but then he becomes a valuable ally later on, and he comes and helps you in different missions, in future missions in the game. Like, and you could add in like new animations for takedowns with him. Like how they did in the Spider-Man PS4 in the Spider-Man 2 PS5 game, where they had takedowns with the, non-playable characters, so that could work. And then you could then the Mad Hatter, like you do something like in Arkham Origins where hey, you had that like dream sequence, and like that dream sequence when you find him. Also, like in Arkham City, you had the dream sequence, but this time you have hand-to-hand combat, and you fight his goons and you fight him head on. But like I think he's like, but like make him how should I say, make him like an actual threat where you can fight him hand-to-hand combat, but like in the dream state. In like Alice in Wonderland's dream state, when he's like high on power, but it's like a battle in the mind, and his place in the story. Like I had this like interesting idea. Mad Hatter could be helping the Court of Owls by helping them when they're like kidnapping people and turn them into talents. He can help brainwash them, since he's known for mind control and people. He can help brainwash them into following the Court of Owls orders, and they act as sleeper agents for them. So like in order to like, and also he could help the Corvallis to manipulate politicians, like and and also high-ranking of officials. He could help mind control and brainwash certain citizens to become talents, and also high-ranking officials, or to put them into in order to put them in order to place them under the control of the Corvallis. So that's my idea for Manhattan story. Then Firefly and Mr. Freeze, I thought about saving them for like a side mission where they like go on robberies throughout the city and trying, but not just like normal robberies where they're stealing money from banks. Like they're stealing equipment and research from Star Labs areas. Like certain labs in the city. Because Mr. Freeze, in the same continuity, he's trying to save his dying wife, and Firefly is helping him, but he's mainly doing it for money. But both of them had like a mutual respect for each other in that way. Like this whole partnership is, I think, kind of cool because it's like fire and ice, two people who conscious of each other working together. This was also kind of inspired by the CW the Flash show, the CW Flash show where you had Captain Cold working with Heat Wave. So that's what kind of inspired me to do this idea. So, and also just like like Killer Croc and Mad Hatter, you have to fight both them in hand-to-hand combat. And think also an idea I got, like in Spider-Man PS4 game, where you had to fight two bosses at the same time, like Rhino and the Scorpion, as well as as well as Rhino and Scorpion, as well as Vulture and Electro. We have to fight both of them at the same time, so this could work. Have fighting both of them at the same time, and you having to worry about the other, fight one and worry about the other, but also try to find a way to make them pit them against each other. Like they accidentally start attacking each other. Do something like that. So that's my idea for them, and also for Bane and Hush now. So for Bane, like you could nothing like Arkham Asylum, but take some inspiration from. I'm taking inspiration from Arkham Origins, where you had to like hide from him, do a stout segment where you had to like hide from him, and he was tracing your every movement, which was terrifying. So add that, but try to like add more to it, like make I'm not sure, but take the idea from Arkham Origins, where you had to fight Bane in the stealth segment instead of combat segment, and try to add little things to it. But anyway, Hush. So for Hush, you would have some boss fights with him, like 2 or 3 boss fights with him throughout the game. Some are hand to hand combat, while others would be like hand to hand combat. Like take some inspiration from the Deathstroke boss fight. That's one of my favorite boss fights. My favorite boss fight in the Arkham series. Take inspiration that and implement that into the one of the boss fights, and also not just in like one of the boss fights. I was thinking for Hush, you could do like a stealth segment where he traces your every move and can sniper you. Like think about this, he's trying to like kill a politician, but you have to stop him, but he's also sniping at you when his lackeys helping him, and he can tell you, and he's good at tracing you. So try implement like a stealth segment, but it's all inverted, and you're the one that's trying to hide from Hush. You're trying to hide from Hush, and or better yet, how about Hush is hiding from you, and you're the one who's trying to figure out where he is? That could also work. So these are my ideas for boss fights in the game. All right.